If you've ever tried traveling and working at the same time, you probably know how hard it is to juggle catching a flight while also staying on top of your deadlines. In this video, I'm going to give you some of my top tips on how you can stay on top of it all and find a great balance. Let's get into it. For those of you who don't know me yet, hi, I'm Jen, and for the past 7 years, I have been freelancing, running my own agency, and traveling all at the same time, so I've definitely learned a couple things along the way. I've traveled to Budapest, I've traveled to Lisbon, I've traveled to Thailand and more, and I'm excited to share my tips with you today. We're gonna go over some practical tips on how to stay productive, manage your clients, and also have a great time at the same time. One of the best things that has saved me while I've been on the road is communication with my clients. That means over communicating if it comes to that. Usually before I head out on a trip, I'll give my client a couple weeks notice that I'm gonna be traveling. I don't need to get into the specifics of where I'm going. They don't need to know for how long. But what I do like to share is that I'm gonna be traveling. I may be available only during certain times of the day, but it will not impact our work together. And that's the key point, is that you want to be transparent, you want to be honest, you wanna make sure that you're not stressing your client out thinking that work's not going to be able to get done. So the key point is create a relationship of respect and trust with your client by being upfront about what they can expect and set any boundaries that you need to, while also reassuring them that you'll stay on top of your deadlines and this won't impact your workflow. It's really great to be proactive about this and stop your clients from worrying about you dropping the ball because you're traveling. Another really important tip is time zone. Let's remember that if you're traveling to a place like Thailand with a huge time difference, you want to be cognizant of the time zone that your client is available in. Now, this depends on the type of work that you're doing. Maybe your work is writing and you don't need to have a lot of calls with your client, so that may not matter as much. But if you have a type of work that involves a lot of client communication, then you might want to make sure that you're carefully selecting your destination so that it just is easier to schedule Zoom and you don't have to wake up at 4 in the morning in order to take the call with them. And actually, I found from my own experience that sometimes this is a huge advantage. Sometimes being online when my client is offline gives me dedicated, uninterrupted work time that I can sit down and focus, and I'm not constantly checking my email to see if I've heard from someone. So the time zone change can actually be a perk, and that can actually give you a chance to be even more productive. Using a tool like Calendly, for example, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below, can be really helpful so your clients know when you're available and when they can book a time with you, and that just cuts the middleman out of it, so you're not going back and forth on email, taking a long time to schedule a call, and maybe accidentally getting the time zone wrong because you missed, 1 hour when you're doing your math, when you're figuring out, wait, is Eastern time? I'm in Paris, and what time is it in Mountain time? So one of the greatest things about freelancing and running your own business is that you have the ability to travel and be somewhere completely on your own and still get work done, right? But a big drawback is that we all know that travel can be really time intensive and there can be delays and, things get canceled. So my next tip is about scheduling your actual times in transit for when you're not working. So say you're catching a flight from Paris to Barcelona and it's a Tuesday. I might suggest taking that flight on a Saturday or Sunday. Just in general, scheduling your transit times for when you're not planning on working and just easing the expectation that you are gonna work when you're actually physically getting from one place to the other. And the reason why this is so important is because when you're committing to a certain deadline and saying to your client, I can have X done by Tuesday, and then all of a sudden your flight gets canceled or you're stuck during your layover. Those are things that are completely unpredictable, and you don't want that to get in the way of missing your deadline. Just remember priorities. If you can, I always like to schedule my travel for the weekends so that I can maintain structure in my day-to-day routine. This is also really great if you're changing time zones. It gives you a little bit of time to adjust to that new time zone and get into the rhythm of your workflow. I always feel like moving to a new place and getting settled there takes at least a day, if not 3 days, to set up an apartment, to find a co-working space and unpack and just relax from the stress of actually traveling. So you want to keep that in mind and plan ahead. Another huge tip that has saved me so much strife while I've been digital nomading is making sure all my technology is buttoned up and all in order. So that means having an external hard drive. That means charging my devices before I get on the bus or hop on a train or take a flight. Having all of my tech organized, all of my cables organized, and just where I know everything is has saved me so much hassle and strife while I'm actually traveling. Another big piece of this is Wi-Fi. Before you book a hotel or an Airbnb, I think it's a really good idea to ask your host what the Wi-Fi speed is. This may save you a huge issue, especially like, let's say you booked a place for a month. You don't want to show up and find out that your Wi-Fi speed is really unstable. This happened to me when I was in Mexico City. We booked a place for 2 weeks and the Wi-Fi, unfortunately, although the Airbnb was great, the Wi-Fi just kept cutting out. So definitely this is something you want to avoid. I fortunately was able to find a co-working space a short walk away. So that was a really good solution for me in that particular situation. But at all costs, if you can book a place that you know already has good Wi-Fi, that's crucial. Keeping a routine while you're digital nomading can be really important, not just for your clients and staying on top of your deadlines, but also just for your own sanity. For example, I really like to structure my work. I only work Monday through Friday, and that is it. I don't work on Sunday because when I do that, I know that I'm more likely to burn out. So setting these really concrete boundaries and holding myself accountable to those boundaries has saved me a lot of angst and a lot of stress. When you're in a new place, it's irresistible to want to go out and sightsee, go out and try the restaurants, and go out and explore. So it can be really hard when you're first arriving somewhere to buckle down and open up your computer and just begin working. So if you can, maybe try and travel like on a Friday night or on a Saturday, and then you have one day on Sunday to do your sightseeing, and then Monday you can get back to work. This kind of structure gives you a little bit more room to have fun and enjoy the fact that you are digital nomadic, but also still be able to be a reliable freelancer. My next recommendation to you is to lean into slow travel. If you are already running a freelance business and you're traveling, probably my biggest recommendation, the biggest thing I could suggest to you would be slow down. Try digital slow-matting, which basically means instead of staying somewhere for 3 days, stay somewhere for a week, stay somewhere for 2 weeks, stay somewhere for a month, or even 3 months. When you're able to embrace slow travel and lean into slow travel, you can actually like immerse and get to know a place. It's also a lot more responsible way to travel. Instead of coming in somewhere and going into the biggest tourist stops in one weekend, you're able to spend time exploring the quieter corners of a city, the place where locals go. You're able to use your spending power towards maybe a more local business instead of a big chain that's right next to the La Sagrada Familia, for example. I'm a big proponent of slow travel because not only is it better for the businesses and the people that you're going to visit while you're traveling, it's also better for your own mental health. By slowing down, you're able to really work efficiently and actually enjoy the destination you're visiting. Cramming all of your work and sightseeing into 1 week is just a recipe for disaster. Travel slower, work better, and just live fuller. Next, it's really important to manage your own expectations while you're a digital nomad. This means knowing that you're not on vacation. This is not time off. You are working. Being able to work and travel is a privilege. It's one of the best things I've been able to do in my life, honestly. It's amazing. But also remember, you have to hold yourself to certain standards. You have to exert self-discipline, and you have to know that you can't just be on vacation while you're doing this. You have to make sure that you hit your deadlines and hit them on time. So that means you're still working, but now you get to explore a new exciting place during your off time. And also just plan for chaos. Like, that's gonna happen, you know? You're in a new environment, you're learning the lay of the land, you don't know where the grocery store is, there's a completely different language potentially that's people are speaking around you. There's gonna be a culture shock, there's gonna be chaos. So just anticipate that and give yourself plenty of time to breathe when you're first arriving somewhere. Digital nomading is an amazing lifestyle, but it really is all about balance. You can totally travel and work at the same time, but just find a happy medium so that you don't stress out, you don't miss your deadlines, and you have the best possible time. With the right mindset, a little preparation, and some flexibility, you can totally make it work. Now, if you're interested in learning more about my personal story and how I managed to build my business and travel at the same time, check out this next video, which I'll leave in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more videos like this one. Bye!